Welcome everybody to Life on Track TV, where it's all about helping you get into the driver's seat of your own life. Not my life, not my beautiful guest's life today. It's all about you getting into the driver's seat of your own life, personally and professionally. And by utilizing my #1 best-selling book, which I'm so excited about this, Work Love, it's about bringing love into the world. This book is specifically the workplace, and also the principles of the amazing book, Think and Grow Rich, which I love that book as well. Studied it since the 90s by Napoleon Hill, among many other the personal and professional development books since the 90s. And it's just amazing what this work can do to transform your life, as well as my beautiful guest here, Dr. Marissa Pei. And we're going to get into you. I want to introduce you. I'm your humble host, Erin Ley. And I want to read Dr. Marissa's bio because I don't want to leave anything out. She's incredible. So Dr. Marissa is an organizational psychologist, inspirational speaker, network TV commentator on topics of grief, hope, and happiness, #1 best-selling author of 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are, and celebrity host of #1 NBC News Radio and iHeartRadio syndicated morning show, Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, and she's been dubbed the Asian Oprah. Where did you go, Dr. Marissa?
I'm sorry. There was a little clicking noise and I didn't want it to distract. So while I knew you were talking, I thought I would go close the window.
Oh, there you go.
You weren't supposed to notice. You were supposed to be greedy.
That's so funny. And I have us both on screen. You're so funny. I loved spending time with you in Vegas last weekend. It was an incredible event where our mutual friends, Dr. Eric Swanson, Sir Eric Swanson, Clarissa. I don't even feel day with names right now. Clarissa Burke. I mean, just amazing, amazing people, and Alex Stern, and just amazing people at this event that were knighted.
Yes.
Knighted for the body of work. And I got to sit at the table with you and spend time with you, and that was fabulous.
It was, definitely. Thank you. Back at you.
Oh, and thank you for being here with us today. I'm so excited to get into this. So the first question that I ask every expert when they come on, I've been doing this for years, hundreds of speakers and summits and TV and everything else. How did you get into doing what you're doing and why? You are the Asian Oprah. I mean, how did you get into this?
So let's clarify one thing. I was actually introduced to Oprah as the Asian Oprah, in case you thought I just made that up, by Michael Bernard Beckwith, also known as my big brother. He's Oprah 100 lister, Super Soul Sunday speaker, and the founder of Agape International Spiritual Center, where I'm on faculty and where I get my peace of mind fertilized and my positive roots watered. So credit to him and what he was able to do for me. And this is sort of how I got into this. There's a couple of streams. By education, I'm an organizational psychologist. So I have a PhD in organizational psychology, and all a PhD stands for is piled higher and deeper. And it's the field that looks at human dynamics at work. So that's one area. I am also one of the 7 out of 10 of us who have had childhood trauma. And if you saw the interview that Fox 5 DC did as a Women's History Month special highlight, I talk about being raised, being called fat, ugly, clumsy, and some other kinds of abuse. And it really made me into, you've heard of the imposter syndrome, where you think you have to achieve in order to be loved, and you have this big persona, but inside you feel like a piece of shiitake, or you think you're better than people and you feel like hot shiitake. So your life becomes piece of shiitake, hot shiitake, piece of shiitake. It's exhausting.
Right.
So the journey to understand that I'm just pretty good shiitake, and that I'm 88% fabulous and 12% of the time I step in it, that was part of the internal coming to your own, or recognizing who you really are. And Michael Bernard Beckwith certainly helped me with that. And the journey from being of Chinese descent, as you can see. I know you thought I was Swedish, but I'm actually Chinese,
so
and with a dash of Mongolian, so don't piss me off. But that culture is so strong in, the nail that stands up is hammered down. Don't toot your own horn. Don't speak. Don't be seen. Don't be heard. And so I had this tremendous journey in understanding that because of the trials and the pain in life that I've gone through, I'm in a unique situation to be able to help other people, the majority of us who've had that kind of background, not come into adulthood thinking that there's something wrong with us. Because if we're the majority, why do we think that we need to be fixed? Why do we think that, we'll never get ahead or we'll never be normal? And that's bullshit-talkie. We are one of a kind, wonderful, loving, loved, lovable, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. And that's the message. I'm on a happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years, knowing that that's why I'm here. So everyone has a unique place. And what we've been led to believe is that unique place is somehow factored in on, that fame and fortune, when in actual fact, pain in life is what chisels us into that unique person, that unique, one of a kind, wonderful person that we are. So I am in a unique situation where I can write a book that becomes a #1 bestseller that talks about how you get to happiness, no matter if you've had childhood trauma, no matter if you've had adulthood trauma, difficult divorce, I lost millions of dollars, and yet I regret nothing. And I'm so glad my Honorable Monica today posted something by Trevor Noah that said regret is the biggest detractor of life. And that's why my motto in life is no regrets, because nothing that happens to us is bad. Nothing that gives us pain is bad, because in the pain, there is an alchemy. There is a burning and chiseling and becoming, that phoenix rising. That's my actual Chinese name in Mandarin is Bei Nian Feng, and Feng is phoenix. So the last chapter in the book is Phoenix Rising, the conclusion, because pain in life is mandatory, but suffering from it is optional.
I love you. I love that. I love that. And I want everybody to hear you and take it in. And like you said, the majority of us have had childhood trauma. I know when you were on Eric Swanson's Mastermind, when you spoke to us, you had said with family. So initially I was like, I didn't have it with family. I had it in school. So my family life was great. Oldest child, oldest cousin. I had a new baby cousin. I say this all the time. And it was exciting for me as a kid. And my parents are great parents, still married to this day, still alive at 81 and 82 and independent and healthy. Good people, loving people. When I started kindergarten at 5 years old, that's when I was introduced to you're not good enough. It was this early 70s. You're not good enough, just mocking how I looked, my work. And I tell this joke all the time. And she actually said it, that I wasn't coloring my chick yellow enough. It wasn't yellow enough to give to my mother. I should be ashamed of myself, constantly telling me I should be ashamed of myself. So that introduced me to that. Couldn't wait to be done with kindergarten. Then first grade, they just hit me for talking constantly. So it was a lot of that trauma where I didn't talk in school for years after that.
Right.
But a lot of people do acclimate to the outer world, to fit the outer world. I got cancer at 25, non-Hodgkin's lymphoblastic lymphoma. In 1991, very few people lived at that. Anyway, I got fully aligned with who I found myself again. My true self became fully aligned, and life is, my motto is celebrate life and you'll have a life worth celebrating.
Absolutely.
So let's get into your first talking point, which is the dis-ease of perfection. And cancer comes about, dis-ease, body dis-ease, mind, body, spirit, because we feel the need to be perfect. Go ahead. You get into this.
Okay. So if you're a person, let's just qualify people now. Are you a person that if you get 99 compliments and 1 criticism, your mind goes to the criticism? I don't know anybody who doesn't do that. That's 1. 2 is, do you say, no one's harder on me than I am? That's number 2. Everybody that I ask says yes. Number 3, do you say, I will be happy when? And then you have a whole set of goals that when you say, I have achieved this, I'm going to be happy. And everybody has those goals. And the funny thing is that line always changes. And so you're never really happy because you're on to the next thing that you are going to achieve or accomplish or have in order to be happy. And those three qualifiers make for really unhappy people, because perfectionists, and most of us are, you get into that little slide where it's perfectionism, procrastination, and then paralysis. Now, I've always wanted to be a procrastinator and I never got around to it, but seriously, perfectionism can lead to procrastination. And then we have a lot of people, and, during COVID didn't help us. It encouraged us to just be in paralysis. You're under the covers. You don't know what's going on. You can't achieve the goals. You've suffered some loss. Now you're definitely fallen from perfection. But even before the pandemic, you have a lot of unhappy people walking around. The best and worst examples, the tragic passing of Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, Robin Williams, are true examples of it's not enough. And if you're in that place of not enough, it doesn't even matter how much money you have or how much stuff you get or what you accomplish, or if you're the youngest, you're always looking for that outside approval. You've got your antenna up. And if you've had damage as a child, it's worse because you already have those critical voices that you grew up with. You're fat, you're ugly, you're clumsy, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are? You're not all that. Then you take all the criticisms and then you add social media where you're always looking for love in the wrong places. Who likes me? Literally now. Who likes me? Who likes me? What are the positives? So you've got this life that's not worth living because it's never enough. You're never happy. And then the moments that you're happy with a nice new outfit that lasts a day, a nice car lasts a month, a nice house lasts maybe 3 months before something breaks down. You have to fix it. Used to be your savings, and, Bernie Madoff with your savings. So there's so many ways to be unhappy and very few ways to be happy if you define happiness as having everything that, I'll be happy when. And so what I have realized, and the premise of the book and the exercises that I have you do as a happiness coach, is I promise you that if you do all the exercises, you will never hate yourself the same way again. And self-loathing and self-hatred are very common in perfectionism, because if you can't get it perfect, then you beat yourself up. And I have 2 words for people who are nodding their heads and qualifying as perfectionists right now for you. You ready? Look at me. Stop it. How the fork do you expect someone to approve of you if you cannot approve of yourself?
Really quick.
So that journey is what led me to where I am now.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And you're so right. And I love the way you interject the fork and the shiitake and everything else. You're so funny.
It was funny in writing the book. I had a lot of non-covered swear words, and Morgan James, my publisher, said, we have to take everything out. I had to fight for the ability to say shiitake.
Oh, wow. Censorship.
Yeah.
But,
and I'm on a FC. I have to follow FCC rules because my show is on an NBC News Radio channel. So I've gotten quite creative with swear words.
Yeah, you got to play by the rules with them. I was on Clubhouse like last year, and I had a point where I was addicted to it. I was constantly getting on Clubhouse.
I'm so glad I went right by that.
Yeah. I stopped. Now I just go on like every couple of months, like once every couple of months. But at the time, somebody was talking in a room, and it was a packed room. And, I spoke, and he's like, well, Erin, we're our own worst enemy. And I said, I can't believe you just said that. We're our own best friend. And then the whole room started going like, wait, what? That's, like, no, I was shocked at how many people thought that they were their own worst enemy. Because I'm so in my own belief of we are our own best friends. We're our own biggest advocate. And I was shocked at how many people don't think that way.
But you've had the life events that were not great at the time that helped you chisel into that BS belief system that works for you and helps others with it. So
beauty and pain.
It really, really, I think if when people listen to me on stage or on the show or wherever I am, if they can just, the legacy I would love to leave is that everyone has the birthright to happiness, and happiness does not mean you do not have bad things happen. Bad things happen to good people and bad people, and for a reason. Yeah. And if we can shift the way we see pain in life, then life becomes a joyride.
Yeah.
Einstein says the most important question that a human being has to answer is the universe friendly or not? And if you judge life by all the bad things that happen, starvation, AIDS, homelessness, all the things that are racism, all the things that are bad, then you're going to be holding your breath. You're going to be protecting yourself in case someone robs from you, steals from you, or breaks your heart. And that life is a horrible life because you're never fully breathing. Yeah. So I say, choose to believe the universe is friendly. Choose to see evidence of that the planets did not crash into each other last night when I was asleep. I didn't have to tell my body how to process the food. Every single grain of sand outside my window and every droplet of water in the ocean of life, the ocean of abundance, every single leaf and tree and seed is different and unique and amazing. Every one of us, 7.3 billion, have unique talents, gifts, and ability. That is evidence of a friendly universe. That is evidence of creation. That is evidence that we're on this planet to juice our life. We don't get any day over. It's our job to get on the ride of life, make the stops that give you joy. And when they don't, get back on. You don't have to stay in that sense of morbid self-reflection. You don't have to stay in the place of feeling sorry for yourself. I think it is important to have 12% of the time you feel sorry for yourself because, there are times when life is not fair and you stomp your feet. But then here's the tool. You turn around and you say, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this with as little or as much sarcasm as you would like. Because in every missed take, there is a learning, there is a blessing, there's something, there's always, I get up in the morning and I put on my life jacket with a silver lining. Why? Not because it's the moral thing to do or someone told me I have to do it, just in the simple fact that it makes me feel better. Makes me feel better. Don't you want to feel better? Wouldn't it be great if you could feel good before you got that outfit? Wouldn't it be great if you could feel good before you had that much money in the bank? Wouldn't it be great if I could feel good right now as if I had won the lottery? Wouldn't that be great? And I can approximate feeling that good by focusing. I start my day, take a bite out of my gratitude sandwich, 8 specific gratitudes in the morning before you pick up this weapon of doom called scrolling.
Right.
Okay. Wouldn't it be great if you could just approve of yourself and love life and look forward to an entire day of creating and innovating and laughing and joking and hugging and respecting? Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Well, guess what? You can do that. Yeah. Impossible is I'm possible.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And we're going to get into, are you happy 88% of the time? Like, I literally exist in love, joy, and inner peace. I will dip down, like you said, to anger, resentment, whatever, but I don't stay there for long at all. We have to experience the human experience, the human elements, all of them that run the gamut. But what you're saying, and I love this, is what we focus on is what we get more of, So if we're focused
That's
on the
Napoleon Hill.
oh my God, yes. And so we'll attract more negativity. We'll just live there because that's where our focus is. If you're solution oriented, I want everybody listening to hear this. If you're solution oriented, worrying is just, Sharon Lecter says this, worrying is just a prayer for what we do not want. I mean, that's
an American Indian saying, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All respect to Sharon Lecter, but that's a Native American saying.
When she said that to me, I was like, you just summed it up.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the Native Americans summed it up before her, but worrying is just perfect. So when you shift out of worry and you just have that solution oriented mindset, get into gratitude in the present moment and just figure out what the solution is instead of spending time on the problem, spend time on the solution. But I want to talk about how can people spend 88% of their time happy?
All right. So and by the way, that is why my show, Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, is solution focused. I say there's no gossip, no scandal, no K words, no Kardashian talk at all. Actually, she's actually doing good things. So no Kanye talk. Okay, at all. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And I bring topics and guests to talk about solution. So that's it. You're absolutely 150, 88% correct. It's so because problem and solutions are on two different wavelengths. You cannot be tuned into the problem and find a solution. You have to tune into a space or a high vibration, as Abraham Hicks will say, that you can receive the solution. So that's why it's important. Now, why 88% happy and not 100% happy? And you've already alluded to this, Erin. If you're 100% happy, you're dead.
Yes.
Because there's no contrast.
Right.
We have to have contrast. The reason why I use 8 is 8's a lucky number in Mandarin, and it's a homophone for good fortune. So it is our birthright to be happy 88, double good fortune of the time. So it's almost 100, but it gives you room to cut yourself some slack. And that's why I say 88%, because 12% of the time I am human and I do lose my temper when I don't want to. And I do say things that I shouldn't have. And I do step in it every once in a while. And thank goodness I have learned not to take myself down for too long and beat myself up for too long so that I can naturally find my high vibrating place. As Abraham Hicks will say, we're all corks in the ocean of life. Our natural way of being is to float to the surface. But because of our BS belief systems that we have to be always good or always achieving or always whatever it is, that we begin to take ourselves down. Another really common way people sink themselves is by not dealing with the past pain that they've had. So we have a lot of people walking around. I'm an executive coach as an organizational psychologist, and I work with C-suite level people who have been productive their entire lives. They make 7-8 figures. And then what happens is about midlife, and I call it midlife opportunity, not midlife crisis, they break down. They start crying for no reason at all. They become this, angry, finger shaking, spitting a boss that people have to now go to classes on how to deal with a difficult boss. So I get called in to work with the problem child. And if there's nothing wrong with those people, except the fact that they have buried their past pain. And if you bury trash, think about the garbage disposal arm that goes down and crushes trash. If you crush hard enough, it turns into liquid. You crush the liquid, it turns into gas. So you've got people at midlife opportunity walking around leaking gas. Now you can't smell your own gas, but everybody around you can smell it. So if you're a person that has very few friends because they don't like you, or if you're at work and people see you and they duck into the bathroom, it's very possible that you are leaking gas. And it's because what you don't deal with will come back and deal with you. So that's one extreme that has led to people not being 88% happy, not dealing with that. The other extreme is people who overdeal with it, are in therapy for 10 years or more, constantly rehash the thing and the people that they say are responsible for their unhappiness. So that's why I'm all about balance. We get into the middle, we get into the center, and we deal with, where is your responsibility? What are you the boss of? And I will tell the 7 out of 10 of us who've had horrific things done to us, and horrific things as children said to us, and horrific things that we've had to deal with that aren't our fault. Your cancer was not your fault. Your, if you've been molested as a child, never your fault. If you've been hurt as a child, never your fault. If you've been hurt by a teacher or your, peer group, whatever, it's never your fault as a child. However, if you are 30, 40, 50, if you're even 20, I work with teenagers. I love working with teenagers because the earlier you can get this, the better. Yeah. If you are continuing to point your finger at someone else and you're over the age of a child, then you are responsible for bringing that past pain that has gotten infected because you're not dealing with it, or you're over dealing with it and stewing in it, marinating in it. Then that is your responsibility. So my work is with people to, what can you control? That serenity prayer, grant me the serenity to accept the things. I cannot change the fact that I was hurt as a child. I will never be able to change that. No amount of, sorries from the perpetrator, nothing is ever going to make it okay. But I can have the courage to not drag that stuff into my present day and project it onto my future. And I can ask for the wisdom to know when to hold and when to fold. And thereby have this amazing life where you can be happy 88% of the time.
I love it. I love it. And there's so many kids in the world today that are products of divorce, like mine, and and if it's not dealt with, and if it's not talked about, those feelings of not good enough, they need to speak to people. And like you said, then they grow into an adult and those feelings come out one way or another. Mm-hmm. And, like they say, if we squeeze an apple, what comes out? Apple juice. If we squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice, right? And when we squeeze a person under pressure, what comes out is who you truly are. Mm-hmm. And if you find yourself lashing out like the boss that you're talking about, the problem child, I love that. Then that's who you are, and you need to see that, and you need to face it, and then get the help and reach out to you, Dr.
And that executive, just to let you know, my best example is at 9 years of age, he walked into a room where his father killed himself with a shotgun in front of him. And that wasn't the worst part of it. He was not allowed to talk about that for his entire life. And so that's the garbage that began to get. So we're talking about a very vital thing that's not talked about in schools. And if you have a family, you don't learn this at home either. And so we have generations, not one, we have 3, 4 living generations right now who cannot find the ticket to themselves because they have not developed that self-care, self-love, self-respect, self-esteem for esteemable acts, which is within them. And I just want to say, because I know that you gave me a question about your kids, and I did answer it on the show, and I know you'll listen to it when you have a chance. You're just as busy as I am. But the answer in a nutshell is, if you can hold on to the fact that your children also innately have the answers within, and that even when your husband is a shift head, it doesn't matter, because in their lives, they are also being chiseled into. And sometimes as parents, we over responsibility ourselves
Yeah.
into the only thing that can help our children, which is a BS that puts us into irons. As a sailor, you don't want to get in irons. You're not going anywhere. If you really believe that you're the only one that can help your children, you're going to be in trouble and your kids are going to be in trouble. But if you can grab hold of the truth and the BS, my BS, which is that everything happens for your best and divine good. So even in that situation, what is being developed in them that wouldn't have been developed had not they had the exact circumstance with their dad as they have. So I'm sure they're more compassionate, they're more resilient, they're stronger. All of those things are good things. Yeah. Everything that happened to me as a child, I would not change a thing because it created this thing here. And I love myself 88% of the time. Yeah. And everybody is in that same boat. Everybody has the capability of being their true and wonderful, one-of-a-kind, wonderful beings if they quit fighting those things that they think are wrong or bad for them. Because everything is for your divine and best good.
Yeah, I believe it's all part of our journey. Even my kids, it's all part of their journey as a mom.
Exactly. And our only job as parents is to do better than the generation before us. That's it. Even though your parents were fabulous, I'm not saying that, that is there's two main issues that take the happiness out of our lives. One is unrealistic expectations of others, and two, unrealistic expectations of ourselves. Yeah. And if we can get a 88% handle on both of those, you're going to have 88% happiness.
I love it. I love it. I love you so much. And with regard to my kids, I'm always asking, like, if I have the opportunity to ask how I can become a better parent in any way, or is there something I'm not seeing?
Erin, are you 88% a good mom?
Yes.
Are you 80? Then please just relax into that.
Yes.
And enjoy it. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be better than you are unless you're under 88%.
No,
and I already know you're 88% or more. So just stop asking that question. Why not focus on where you are a good parent? Why not focus on what more fun you can have with your kids? Right. So that's it. So I would say, if there's anything, is to stop asking that question and stop paying attention to where he's not being a good dad.
Yeah. I don't even talk about that anymore. I gave up on it.
Except that you asked me that question. So I'm going to call you on that.
No, I don't go out and talk about it. You're the psychologist. I had a question. That was that. Sure. But I really, I don't really get into him at all anymore. Good. When I was devastated and so hurt and shocked, I couldn't stop. But now it's not worth my time. And I know that.
It's a tough thing. And if you're going through a divorce and you are devastated, then you know what? You're exactly where nobody thinks that divorce is fun. That very few percent of the people who think it's, amicable, they're my best friend. It's like, okay, good for you. But it's not designed that way.
Right.
It is not designed that way. But my whole my bottom line question to anyone who wants to get a divorce is to look me in the eye. Can you look your kids in the eye and say, I have done every possible thing to try to make this work? And if you can say that, if you haven't gone to therapy, if they don't want to go, it doesn't matter. You go. If you haven't gone, you can get a coach. You don't have to do 10 years, but you spend a good 8 months really examining your part, then you've done enough. I love being able to help in that process. I think it's wonderful. I was a little concerned when everybody was becoming coaches, with very little qualifications. Right. But, what I've come to recognize is there's a person out there for everybody, and it's not the same person. And because you look for someone who has gone through something similar to you.
Absolutely.
Because that's why bad things happen to good people.
Absolutely. Back in the 90s when I had the cancer and I kept defying the odds because I did the personal development work, they told me the chemo didn't work as fast as the tumor was growing. I'd be dead in a month. And I went really deep, really fast. Like I said before that, I just knew the outer world. I didn't know anything about the inner world. And then when I learned it and it clicked, it was like, oh my God, and I couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
So I kept defying the odds. Every time they said I was going to die, I lived. I went on to have 3 kids, miracle kids, after the 2.5-year protocol was done. And it was an egregious 2.5. Very few people lived at that diagnosis. And I went on to have 3 kids with no medical intervention whatsoever. So Sloan Kettering started having their patients call me at home in the 90s. That's how I started coaching, group coaching on the phone with their family and friends and everything else, with
Good for you.
But I've been doing it for 30 years. And I went from, I did it for free for years in the beginning. And then anybody who's stuck, overwhelmed and distracted personally or professionally, I love helping them. But I've been doing it for 30 years. And like you, when all of a sudden coaches were just coming up during the pandemic, like everybody was switching to coaching, I was like, oh my God. It was
for
interesting.
sure. Yeah. My dad actually died of the cancer you had.
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
tell you that last time. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so
He
sorry.
only found, they found it, took them 8 months to find it. And then he lived another 2 months after they diagnosed it. So that was, but he is not gone. Death is really overrated. He's just where we're all going to go. And he's loving us from there. I had a vision one night in a dream of what he was doing in heaven, and all the people who had died in my life who were important to me were all sitting, and every once in a while they would stand up and go, woohoo! And I'm like flying, and I'm like, what are they doing? And I flew in closer, and again something happened, and woo! And they were focused on this big screen TV, and I'm like, gosh, I wonder what that is. So I flew in closer, and it was the screen showing what was happening in my life. And every time something great happened in my life, they would all stand up and cheer. And that is what I know is going on in heaven right now. So if you're grieving for people that you have lost, grieve no more. The tool that comes out of the book is called remembering them whole. Do not remember those you have lost in the last minute, month, or year of their life. Remember the wholeness of who they are, because that is the gift that they were in your life. Okay. That's on the chapter, Out of Loss into Hope.
I could cry. I lost my sister just a couple of years ago, and very, very close. She was only 49, and I could
tears. Cry. Yeah, and tears. Go ahead and cry. I love making my guests cry because tears are the tears. This is a new high for me. Tears are the disinfectant that keep your heart soft.
I miss her.
Yeah, and that's
words,
and that's good.
Yeah,
and that's good. Your heart's open.
Yeah,
your heart's open, and so yeah.
And I'm sorry about your dad.
Yeah, and thank you. And at the same time, I know he's loving me even stronger from that side than he was able to do here.
Yes, and I have. I'm not going to bring it over my picture of my sister, but life, death, and like you said, there's no real end, because we're all energy, and energy doesn't die. Energy is just infinite. And I just can't, it's interesting about and exciting. Don't want to go too soon, but exciting about what's next. You know, after
I live every day as if it's my last.
Yes.
And I can truly say that. And I can truly say that there is nothing left undone in my life right now. So if that's the plan, I'm ready. If it's not the plan, I got a whole day ahead of me, or half a day now. Actually, a whole day. I have a tendency to, I'm a recovering overachiever. So, but I juice my life because I know I can't get this time back.
Yes, and we're creators. We're constantly creating. So
and everybody is creative.
Oh, totally.
If you were told that you're too sensitive, I was told all the time, you're so sensitive. Quit being so sensitive. Well, I can tell you now that sensitivity is 100% correlated with creativity. So now when someone says you're too sensitive, I say thank you for the compliment.
I do the same thing. I grew up with, you're overly sensitive, you're too sensitive, and it's like, I'm just really in tune to the feelings of others. That's all that really is, and my own. But I love that you just said that. Yeah. And everybody is a creator. I just think that people like you and I, that kind of creating books and speaking and all that kind of stuff, like overachieving to us, I think is just creating. You know, we always want to create something else. We're always thinking about that next thing that we can bring into the world. But I want to get into your free gifts because I can talk to you all day, every day. Oh my God. Okay. So your free gift is the free happiness coaching session on the air. And they could be
you don't have to be on camera because of my live engineer now in the studio, as well as StreamYard. It allows me to interact and bring people into my virtual studio. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I usually do caller questions. And now you can actually have a full free value of $380 coaching session on the air. You don't have to be on camera, and you can also change your name to protect the guilty. And you know, just go to drmarissa.life and put in there free coaching or Erin's name, and that will trigger me to go ahead and schedule you. Or you can just go ahead and schedule and put it at drmarissa1.youcanbook.me, and that will also just do 3 consecutive times. If you want to do it live, it's 8 to 9 in the morning Pacific time. If you're on Eastern, that's probably easier. But I would love to give you that gift. And along with that comes a free audiobook copy of 8 Ways to Happiness, #1 on Amazon, #4 on Denver Post, 8 best-selling lists. I'm so grateful for that. And that came out of losing a $200,000 consulting project, by the way. But most of all, I want you to, because I asked the question, I wonder what good's going to come out of this. And the voice said, write. And I said, I don't have time to write. And the voice said, you do now. So
I love it.
I call him my UPS man, my universal power source, who delivers every day when I pray and meditate. I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Right.
They say that religion is for people who want to avoid going to hell, and spirituality is for those of us who've already been there. So that's my definition of spirituality. But please do, if nothing else, follow me on social. Just Google Asian Oprah. You will find me everywhere. As well, on my YouTube channel, I just interviewed the Temptations, Jimmy Kimmel. Today I had Steve Peters on, who was the gay pastor who's lived the longest in the world with active AIDS.
Wow.
He's lived 40 years.
Wow.
So, and then tomorrow I have the grandson of the founder of the legendary Temptations, Otis Williams. And so lots of different shows, interviews with Halle Berry. So if nothing else, please free subscribe at my YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And everybody has to run to your YouTube channel and see who you've interviewed. Happy Days, you know, like the
Patsy, Ralph Malph, Mrs. Cunningham. Yeah, I've had, of course, my show's about happiness. So Happy Days.
Happy Days. There you go.
But the special one was to celebrate 9 years on the air. Don Most, who's Ralph Malph, brought his wife, who doesn't give interviews. She has Parkinson's, Morgan, and she's so beautiful. And she agreed, and we had the most amazing show. So watch that one.
Yes, I will, and I want everybody else to watch it as well. Yeah. You're amazing. Is there anything left on your head or your heart that we didn't discuss?
Yes, I have a nonprofit that helps kids, teens, and young adults who have temporarily forgotten their birthright to happiness, and it's called 8 Ways to Happiness. Like the books, common brand, so you won't forget. If you go to Smile Amazon, next time you order anything on Amazon, go to Smile Amazon, you'll get the same item for the same price, and a little bit of it will go to my nonprofit.
You're so beautiful. Everything that you do is so beautiful. You know, your heart is huge, huge, Marissa. And I feel so honored, and it's a blessing to have gotten to know you. And I look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to do this and turn the thing so I can promote this coming out. So I just had a wonderful interview with Erin. And at the end of my show, I'm going to make her do it, is peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live in Erin Ley studio. You'll have to watch it. When is it coming on?
Next week,
All
Tuesday.
Right. And how do they find it?
They can go to my YouTube channel also, which is Erin Ley - Life on Track, or they can go to lifeontrack.tv and they'll see it there.
Yay.
Yay.
See, got a little promo in there.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you. You're so good.
Of course.
I love that. Peace in, peace out.
World peace.
World
through
peace.
inner peace.
And
yeah,
I love it.
I don't know how I came up with that, but I love it. And the mayor, wonderful mayor, Eric Garcetti, gave me a happy 9 years. And the very first time I interviewed him, he followed me and said, how do you do that again? And so now when I go and cover news, because I do on location beat reporting as a hobby, and to also bring good stories onto the show, he'll always, when he sees me, he'll go,
Aww.
it's so cute.
I love it. Aw.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for
course.
being with us today on Life on Track TV. You're amazing.
Thank
Brilliant.
you.
And I love the work that you're doing. All right, everybody, stay tuned. And, as I have more guests offering the insight and the information that is just up-leveling this world personally and professionally, helping you get in the driver's seat of your own life and with your life on track. All right, everybody, have a magnificent day. And always remember to live onward and upward. Love you.